Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast, episode 123. Dizzy?
Good to be here, mate. Welcome back. You've just touched down from your trip away in Hamilton Island. We can't wait to hear all about it.
Well, you will. And what else are we going to hear about, Diz?
Oh, mate, of course we're going to hear about everything that's going on in Port Augusta and Port Lincoln with Shane.
Shane Hodgens. So we've had him on before. Probably 6 or 7 months ago we had him on. And at that point he was running the Port Lincoln Tackle World. He's now expanded the repertoire and he's grown the Port Augusta store.
He's got them both under his supervision and his guidance. So that's fantastic.
If there's one place in this state he's firing for fish at the moment is Port Augusta. Kingfish, sailfish. Yes, you heard that right. There's a sailfish getting around.
Wow.
Anyway, Port Augusta's the place to be.
Yeah, epic. We can't wait to have a chat with him about all things Tackle World, Port Augusta, the pop-up, and all the fishing he's been up to. Rhodey, let's get into oranges and lemons. I think yours are going to be pretty straightforward, so I'll let you start off.
Yeah, Diz, my orange was getting away. Hamilton Island, great place. You be there? Or you went on a yacht someday, didn't you?
Quite a number of years ago. It would have been at least 10 years ago.
Yeah, on a yacht?
15.
On a yacht?
We stayed on a boat.
Wasn't
for
it
a
some
few
like
days.
super yacht?
Please.
Anyway,
it wasn't a super yacht.
We just had like
Been
a
lucky to
humble
be a
little
cray
abode.
boat.
A little humble abode while you were
want
out
a
in the super
3-story
yacht.
Airbnb with access to 5 pools.
But those pools are actually, that could be my orange. They're just random pools that anyone on the island just jumps in and has a swim. Swim up bar. Big
Sounds
queue
sounds like a dirty, great big COVID pit to me.
Big queue at the not the COVID bar, the swim up bar in the afternoon though.
Heavily chlorinated.
Heavily chlorinated and
Good stuff.
Anyway, no, the island was great. Golf buggies are fun.
Yeah?
Hot though, so you need to take golf buggies.
You didn't drive any of them under the influence? I've heard that they can pick you up for DUI if you drive them pissed.
No, would you know what's good about having a pregnant partner, Diz?
Yeah, good call.
Mind you, Lucy didn't actually really drive the buggy very much.
She didn't rate herself as a golf buggy driver? Or
I think she took Lil out a couple of times when we went out scuba diving.
Yeah, nice.
But my lemon, Diz, I'm going to keep going, was no fish at Hamilton Island. I dead set did not catch a thing. I would have had 4 or 5 goes, short little sessions, land-based, often in the middle of the day when Lil was asleep.
Yeah.
I had one go on evening and thought it was going to fire, had something busting up all around us. It was me and this Italian chef from the island fishing together.
Wow. A few good stories about the puttanescas.
Yeah, shared our war
gnocchis.
stories about cooking up pasta and all that. And anyway, there was bait fish busting up, some sort of tuna. We saw tuna busting up in like the water out from the breakwater several times just outside casting range. And I did get a big silver shape come up out of the depths to follow that Osea popper that we talked about last time.
Oh, beautiful lure.
So that was the closest I got.
What did you not think to take the drone or something and just
Drones are banned on the island.
Oh,
They are. I thought about this.
gee, spewing.
And to top it off, so no fish land-based, had a charter booked, and the weather the second half of the week was no good for business. So that didn't even go because the weather was crap the second half.
Oh, that's a shame. All right, well, I'll give you my orange. I've been out in the garden. Couldn't be fishing, just work and other commitments. So
Do you know how to fish anymore?
I'm actually wondering whether I will know how
When
to
was
fish
the last
next
time you
go.
actually
It's been
wet
a
a
long
line?
time. But speaking of fishing, we're out in the yard and Ned's just there. He bloody loves just flicking a lure in the pond. So we got the rod out, did a bit of casting practice, and that's about as close as I've got to fishing over the last 2 weeks. And I'll roll, but that was, good. We've had good weather in Adelaide, actually. It's been nice and warm. So
Yeah, I went outside today and just about got blown over.
don't think, you
Sealing
brought
ferry was cancelled.
you brought the tropical windstorms back with you from Hamilton Island.
Oh, mate, went out on a ferry and there was seasickness. I wish I had a pharmacist that could hook us up some baby seasick.
I've got the greatest seasick
Can
tablets.
3-year-olds take them?
Oh, no. definitely not.
Well, can you make something for Lil next time? She was a green on the ferry to Whitehaven Beach.
She's got your genes.
Didn't
mate.
spew, but she was green.
Wow. All right, I'll roll that into my lemon. The cricket was a disaster last week.
mate.
Absolute disaster. Mind you, I would not want to have been McSweeney facing Boomer in that second innings.
Yeah, do you reckon Kawaja could have faced the first over?
Oh, good call. Boomer
Mate,
just
you're
had him
38
on
and you've been
toast.
playing for years.
Yeah, he said, nah, McSweeney, get down the other end, champ. You're facing first ball.
Bit of a one-man show. Travis Head was the only one that looked like making a run.
Yeah, I know, but no, the Aussies didn't look like it at all. So we'll look forward to the Adelaide test and see what they can come up with. Rhodey, let's move into the merch update for the listeners out there because we've got a mountain of work to do in the news section this episode. So quick update.
Quick. Probably nothing's changed. There's larger t-shirt sizes, extra large. There might be a couple of larges, nothing small. Couple of caps left, couple of beanies left.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Get in contact if you want one. Good Christmas presents, Diz.
Yeah, hat's always good. I'll be putting it in the Kris Kringle for work for sure.
Of course you will.
Done it every year for the last I don't know how many years, so that's always good fun. All right, Rhodey, let's get into the news.
Rhodey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Righto, Rhodey, we've got a lot to get through here, mate, but the RecFish annual report is out. I'm sure that everybody has seen that Asher was doing a wonderful job explaining the board positions that were available and getting as many nominations as he could for that, but they have had their...
So they've had the AGM. They haven't announced the what?
No.
I was away. I don't know what you're up to, but I haven't got the full story. That hasn't sort of hit the news just yet.
No, but the annual report has.
But the annual report is here. It's in my nice little hand. Ash has been working hard on this one. So the 23 to 24 financial year report, end of year report, put together by Asher Desiree. It basically goes through everything they've been working on, all the sort of projects they've been doing, some of the finances. It talks about the kids fishing, the women's fishing clinics, which we'll touch on in a minute. Talks about the snapper stuff, the reef recovery, the Yabby net exchange. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's 21 pages, Diz, so if you want me to summarise that, we'll need an extra podcast.
You reckon we could do like a little mini episode?
You know when you were a kid, did you listen to audiobooks? No. Do you want me to start doing audiobooks?
Mate, I don't reckon audiobooks were a thing when we were kids.
Start. Yes, they were. We used to listen to Harry Potter when we drove to Queensland.
Oh my gosh, what a nerd.
Anyway, I could do an audiobook of the annual report if you like.
Yeah, right. Sounds good. Okay, moving right along, Rhodey. We're hearing some word about mandatory reporting.
We are, Diz, and this has been... There's been whispers, I would say, on this, Diz, but I think it was just this week. The state government on the PIRSA website, I'm reading it here, Diz, has said that there is a new look app coming for SA recreational fishers. So it says to be released in mid-2025. So they're going to work with RecFish SA to develop a new app to identify potential features and functions for the recreational fishing sector. So I think there has been an app in the past that's had, size limits and bag limits and all that sort of stuff. I did hear Minister Scriven interview Diz, and she said that there will be an opt-in to record their catch. And it actually says it here in this document. So it's going to display catch limits, area closures, and provide an opt-in opportunity to record their catch. So it isn't going to be mandatory to report your catch, which is, I think, what the whispers and the rumours were, but it's going to be an optional part of the app.
Yeah. Okay.
My question is anyone going to report their catch?
No.
And the idea was to, increase the knowledge and the numbers of what they've got. But my query is, if we go telling them how many whiting we're catching every weekend, what are the chances they cut our bag limits if they know how good I am at catching whiting?
Well, when you log on there, right, you caught none, 1, 2, none.
Well, that's what people are going to do, though. People are just going to say, stuff you. We're not telling you how many fish we're catching.
Let me ask a question.
There's a lot of mistrust. No one's going to trust
What did they work out that the industry brings towards the economy? $1 billion or something?
Yeah.
What's that got us?
Yeah, well, exactly right.
Doesn't matter what information they have. They'll be they'll still make the decisions they want to make. Anyway, a bit more to come on that. I think don't mind the idea that an app's being redeveloped, but I actually never really had much of a problem with the Fishing SA. I always found it relatively
It's pretty easy to use, isn't it? Yeah.
Find what you needed to find. If you wanted to, caught a peculiar species that you hadn't before, you could find out information pretty quickly. Certainly very helpful for those that are either new to fishing or don't know, that sort of thing. Because there was always a photo of the fish and a description of what they look like.
And I reckon like some of those fish, like, it used to have Australian salmon and Tommy Ruffs and what the difference is.
Yeah.
Some of those sort of resources are quite handy.
But things as well like, well, whether it be cockles and up-to-date information on other bits and pieces. Anyway.
People aren't going to use it. That's basically, I don't think people are going to accurately report what they're catching. And, maybe neither should they.
Yeah, well, did they use the report for the snapper? They use the app for the snapper catching data?
Yes.
Like in the
so you have to log.
I know you have to
snapper,
log it, but you have to log it through the app. Is that the go?
I think you can log it on the app or call up.
Or you can call them. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. I get we all have iPhones, but there is a percentage of the population that don't have a phone that can put an app on it.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty 100%. Of older blokes that fish off a jetty or guide at the local boat ramp.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to be included by this, and that's going to be a big issue if they ever do try and make this mandatory reporting.
Good call. Rody, Kingfish.
Diz, in this same document, actually, it talks about there is the Allocation Review Committee will be progressing to a Stage 2 review for yellowtail kingfish. So initially it was deemed that this didn't need to be reviewed. So there was a lot of discussion and debate about what should be going on and whether there's been a breach by the commercial sector in there and have they taken too much more than what they're allocated at the moment. And it's interesting how this came about, Diz. So this came about through the New South Wales Game Fish Tagging Program after new and more reliable data about average recreational catch sizes was obtained. So what's happened, so it's going to progress to a Stage 2 review for yellowtail kingfish. So the Allocation Review Committee will meet in December to progress this and any other Stage 2 allocation reviews.
Right.
So currently the commercial kingfish allocation is 0.12% compared to the recreational sector 98.88% and the Aboriginal traditional fishing sector's 1%. And that's what everyone's been doubting, that they're saying definitely commercials are taking more than 0.12%. And somehow through the New South Wales Game Fish Tagging Program data, they've said maybe there is a case for them to answer to.
Wow. There you go.
That'll be another one to keep an eye on.
Interesting to see what comes of that. Well done, Rody. What about, while we're on the topic of kingfish, there's something going on elsewhere in the aquaculture space.
Diz, I never really thought I'd be saying these words, but there is an Adelaide-based aquaculture company that has come up with a crazy idea. Where would you farm kingfish? Where would you do aquaculture for kingfish? Just throw me out some ideas.
I'd say anywhere but inland.
Yeah, no. Would you do it at Waikery?
No.
Because this company has purchased a 50-hectare site near the riverland town of Waikery. Wow. So they're going to use reserves of saline groundwater pumped deep from under the earth, and they're gonna try. So it's called A-Culture, A-Culture, and their aquaculture scientist John Carragher said Waikery was the ideal location for the project because of its potential to grow a sustainable supply of marine fish all year round.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
So that will be another one for us to follow really closely. Says the saline groundwater has a consistent temperature of around 20 degrees Celsius, so that seems to be a good temperature for this aquaculture type of things. And he said the site would host one day up to 20 individual farms, each capable of producing 240 fish annually. There's also going to be a small-scale trial on the same site to investigate how to use waste from the farm to grow Asparagopsis seaweed, which I think is a type of asparagus by the sounds.
Well, yeah. I can't disagree with that.
And that's
I thought you were about to say they're going to grow asparagus.
So that's been that same seaweed that they've talked about using as a livestock feed supplement, and we have touched on that over the years. So that's a very interesting story.
Yes, one that we'll be following closely.
And it's been in the pipeline for a while. I'm reading here between 2004 and 2008. Sardi did some research to prove that the aquaculture model was technically viable, sort of in that groundwater idea.
Wow.
So that's interesting, Diz, and we will keep a close eye on that one.
Of course we will. Rhodey, the recreational fishing survey, they're putting some vouchers on the line, aren't they?
Yeah, Diz, so this one's been floating around for a little while, and it's all about, so it's about, and again, they're trying to gather more information, which is always sort of what happens, and this one is about how valuable is recreational fishing to you. So they've been drawing some winners. They've already drawn 20. I think there's 40 more to go. So this is being run by researchers from the Flinders University, Adelaide University, and the University of Tasmania, which have a lot to do with all things fishing. And they're sort of asking, what was your last fishing trip worth? So you jump on the survey link or you go on the QR code. There's posters in participating tackle stores, quite a few of them independent tackle stores, including Tackle World Port Lincoln, which we're about to touch on in a big way, Diz. But as a thank you, they're giving away $60, $50 vouchers to spend at those same stores.
Yeah, good stuff.
So 20 have already been drawn. There's still 40 to go. It's on the RecFish Facebook page, or you can find it on those QR codes in those stores.
Brilliant. Love that. And while we're on that subject, they've held a clinic at Moonta.
There's one coming up, Diz, I believe. I think you might have jumped the gun a little bit.
They just had another one. They did have another one recently.
Yeah, there was
after Lake Bonnie,
Riverland, and then did they do one in the southeast? I know RecFish were in the southeast, but this one's coming up. So there is a beginner knot tying session under the Real Women banner on December 6th at the Moonta Bowling Club, 6 to 8 p.m. on the Friday. Then the Saturday morning, 9 to 11 at the Jetty, there's a women's fishing clinic or session. And at the same time, by the looks, there's a reeling in junior anglers on the Saturday, the 7th of December, 9 to 11. And then this one will be interesting, Diz. Saturday, the 7th of December, 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. There is a RecFish SA squid fishing session at night.
Wow.
So the Real Women and the Reeling In Junior Anglers program is heading over to Yorks.
Nice. Love that. Brilliant stuff, Rhodey. All right, what else do we got, mate? There's a survey from PIRSA around the commercial scale fishery. Is that right?
So this is another one of those your say sort of operations where they get you to provide feedback, and this is on the new draft management plan for the SA commercial marine scalefish fishery. The current plan expires on the 30th of June 2025, and you can access that on the Your Say website up until the end of January and help to shape the marine scalefish fishery. Obviously, that's the commercial side of things, but it does flow over into the rec fishing scheme, and I think everyone will be keen to chip in their 2 cents worth, Diz.
For sure, mate. For sure. Righto, Rhodey, what else have we got? We've got a bit of funding from PIRSA going into some research around shark risk. Am I reading this correctly?
$500,000 package will be delivered in conjunction with Surf Life Saving SA, aimed at reducing the risk and impact of shark interactions for residents and visitors along our coastline. I saw bits and pieces of this, Diz. A lot of it was around drones. I don't know, did you see this on the news?
You think there's a bit of AI going on here?
Drone operator training. So they got some new high-tech drones. It also says coastal risk assessment, signage, and trauma kits. Hopefully they don't need the trauma kits too often, Diz.
Yeah, hopefully those trauma kits expire. That'll be the aim of the game.
It also says this extra investment allows the Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service to expand to the regions covering the region from Robe to Waiala. And it includes the Long Cully swim at Robe next month. So that'll be good. If you're getting down the Robe for the swim, you can feel a little bit better about the shark side of things.
You beauty. All right, Rhodey, moving right along. The Carpe DM.
Diz, have you been following this? I've actually been talking about this for a while now. But
this is in Victoria, isn't it?
The Vic fisheries are jumping on this we're getting rid of the carp thing. And they've come up with this. It's called Carpe Diem. Do you know what Carpe Diem means? I think it might be Latin for seize the day. And they've taken the piss out of it a bit, saying it's got the word carp in it. So we're going to jump on it. We're going to seize the day and get rid of carp. So they're trying to team up with recreational fishers and bring back native fish such as, it says here, macquarie, perch, trout cod, blackfish, silver perch and catfish. Hopefully they help out the Murray cod as well. They didn't include that in their list, but surely that's a part of it. And they're asking you to subscribe online to a monthly newsletter all about the carp herpes virus disease. So they're trying to do some testing in, I think the way it was worded was in a controlled, enclosed waterway. So they're going to test out, they're trying to get clearance, I think, Diz, to test out this carp herpes virus and figure out what they want to know is a clearer understanding about mortality rate. So the estimates that it could kill somewhere between 30 and 80% of the biomass of carp. Obviously, if it kills 30% versus if it kills 80%, makes a massive difference in the cleanup.
Big difference.
And the potential for that sort of blackwater event and killing all of the native fish and what sort of cleanup is required. So I think that's the big unknown. Does it kill 30%? Does it kill 80%? Is it somewhere in the middle? And how are we going to deal with all this rotting carp if it does eventually get cleared to be put in the Murray River itself?
Very interesting.
So I've signed up for their newsletter just to keep an interest in it.
I love it how this has surfaced again because this was hot on our
Before
news.
COVID, it was a big thing, wasn't it? And then it sort of went quiet.
It sort
but
of
I think,
fell away, but
and I haven't really heard any of the other states
streaming
mention it at all. But Fisheries Victoria is getting right on board with it.
Yeah, good stuff, Freddie. Love that, mate. All right, now a bit more of a somber story. This is a boat, missing boat.
Well, it's been found.
Yeah, but where was this? This is out off road. Botswain Point.
Yeah, I think Boatswain's Point. Boatswain's Point, I think it's called. It's between Robe and Kingston. So, and a fisherman and a dog were rescued by a man on a surfboard at Long Beach near Robe. So, two brothers were found. They went out fishing. I think they spent most of the day at sea, and they were eventually spotted by someone from the shore. So, I don't know whether you saw. Did you see the map on the news tonight or last night of the track that the plane had followed? Looking for them, so sort of between Robe and Kingston there, and their boat sank off the limestone coast, and they had their 3-legged terrier with them. Diz.
Wow.
So they were reported missing at 2:30 on Tuesday after they failed to return from checking cray pots 2 to 3 kilometres offshore at Boatswain's Point north of Robe. So I think that's pretty much the top end of Long Beach.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So then it set off a big police rescue operations, SES, all the likes. And they were eventually found off Long Beach at about 5:30 p.m. Brian Innes, 77, was one of the guys. And he said a rogue wave came from nowhere, hit the back of the boat and drove it underwater, throwing us out.
Wow.
So
crazy stuff.
They've got a bit of sunburn and some hypothermia. But apart from that, all in okay shape.
Oh, we're glad that they're okay, Brody. That's the most important thing.
Actually, one of the challenges, it just says here, last thing, including that only one of the pair's 2 life jackets self-inflated.
Oh, good reason to check your lifeies.
And then he had to the other guy then had to manually inflate his own. So brothers, yeah, interesting.
Very interesting. All right, Brody, seeds for snapper. This is one that we talk about, I'm going to say annually.
Yeah, Diz, I don't know if you've been following this one as well.
Oh, look, I sort of dabble in a little bit of the seeds for snapper. Haven't been down there to collect any seeds for a while.
So they had an event, I think it was last weekend, like a bit of we'll call it a season launch, Diz. It's like when you get together at the footy club and have a few beers to say, here we are, we're here for another year. So they had some VIPs. It was sponsored by Green Adelaide and the SA branch of the United Nations Association of Australia. And Rachel Williams from RecFish was involved in sort of setting this up. So the tanks have been installed and they are ready to accept fruit down at the Cruising Yacht Club of SA, I believe it is. If you need any more information, jump on the Seeds for Snapper SA volunteers page. And they've got all the information about exactly where, like how to collect the seeds, keep them cold, put them in the esky, where you can drop them off, all that sort of stuff. It's normally around this time of year where it gets going. But from what I've seen on their Facebook page, there looks like there's heaps about. Lots of people are collecting big hauls in their eskies, walking along the Metro and the Fleurieu coasts. And obviously they then, as we've talked about in the past, they put these into those Hessian bags, I think they said, didn't they, Diz? And then start to replant these seaweed beds that are so important for our snapper. And it says to keep the fruit in seawater in a cool spot until you drop them off.
Just a good reason to get out amongst nature and get around it for a good cause, eh, Rhodey?
Very much so, Diz, and it's got the opening hours, and at all other times you can drop them at an esky at the front gate.
Nice, mate. Well, I'm very impressed with that news segment you've put together for us.
Mate, I've barely drawn breath. How many hours have been going for? Is it midnight yet?
Oh, it feels like that was certainly a marathon, not a sprint, that news segment.
That could be our biggest and best ever news segment.
Carpe diem. Seize the day, my friends.
That was action-packed. All right, should we keep moving?
Let's get into the tackle item of the week.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
Righto, Rhodey. We love this, mate. This is, of course, the brilliant Shimano apparel range, the shirts. Talk us through it. You were wearing them up in Hamilton Island.
Dizzy, I'll tell you one thing about Hamilton Island. It's hot.
Yeah, warm part of the
there
world.
was some sunburnt humans. Plenty of backpackers getting around. Seen a bit more sun than what they should have. But what did I do when I went fishing out of the breakwater, Diz? I wore my Shimano Pro Stretch vintage shirt in the burnt orange colour. So it's got those breathable sort of sections on the side, lets a bit of airflow in, doesn't get you too hot and protects you beautifully from the sun. It's lightweight. It's SPF 50 plus rating. These were the same shirts we wore in the Port Lincoln the Port Lincoln Tuna Comp. How did that go for us?
Yeah, good.
Few comments that we look naked on the top, but apart from that, I think from a distance it is a bit of a skin-coloured shirt.
It's a skin-coloured shirt, but from a functionality perspective, from a comfort perspective, can you fault it?
No. I think they were all just jealous, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a fair bit of jealousy going on over the radio, I thought.
Yeah. It was
we probably didn't need to match our kids.
No, and it's sort of one of those once one person makes a comment, that's all anyone else wants to talk about.
Yeah, everyone sort of jumps on board.
And we were sort of fairly lippy sort of characters over the weekend, so
yeah, we sort of, mate.
We gave as much as we got.
I was going to say, if you're gonna give it, you got to be able to take it. So that was fine.
But certainly in that environment, in that hot weather, the sweaty humidity, a nice breathable shirt, Diz, makes all the difference. And I came away looking very much unsunburnt.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's good. That's good. You got to set an example for your daughter and your family. So covering up and slapping and slide and whatever the other one is.
Even had my nice sort of brown zinc on my lips. My skin doctors told me I got old lips.
Okay, right. Good on you, skin doctor. Good call. They do look like some old lips. Righto, what else have we got to add to the shirt outside of get yourself down to your local tackle store and get your hands on a Shimano shirt for the fishing season, particularly the summer?
Do you know where you might be able to buy them, Diz? Tackle World Port Lincoln and the new Tackle World store at Port Augusta. Let's get Shane Hodgens on the line to talk about everything Port Augusta and Port Lincoln.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Righto, Rhodey, we are very lucky to be joined again by Shane, the man behind the great Tackle World store at Port Lincoln, and also what we're going to be talking about is the pop-up at Port Augusta, and we can't wait. Thank you very much for joining us, Shane.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, boys.
Very good, Shane. Now we are going to talk about all things Tackle World, both at Port Augusta and Port Lincoln, as we said. But let's before we get into that, let's talk about what you've been doing lately. How's the fishing been over the last sort of 6 months or so since we spoke to you last?
It's been good. Probably, I guess, the main focus, especially over winter, or from the start of winter, have been the big barrel tuna south of Lincoln. So we've pretty well established that's a very good tuna fishery. I'd say you're looking at 12 months of the year now. So you got your school fish that have just started to rock up now, and those big barrels, they sort of disappeared. The last I heard of them was at the start of the month. So you're looking at 12-month tuna fishery now, which is excellent for Port Lincoln. Now you're looking at the kingfish. So the kingfish have been going gangbusters for the last couple of months in the Port Augusta and Whyalla, and starting to slow down now. And then you start looking at your offshore fish coming up, and then you got all your whiting, garfish, squid, all that sort of stuff, blue crabs. So there's plenty happening.
Geez, that's unbelievable. And if that doesn't get our listeners' mouths watering for going out fishing, I'm not sure what will. But Shane, the real question is, mate, with everything that's been going on between the two Tackle World stores, have you had any chance to get out fishing, mate?
Not much. I've been listening to everyone's stories, and it's hard, very hard to sit there and sell all this good stuff to people. And look, I've managed to get out, score a few trips after work or before work in Port Augusta, and I only caught one kingfish, lost quite a few. So I did actually get a new rod, and I reckon it's cursed because everything I've hooked on it I've lost. That was 3 trips, and I don't know how many fish I lost on that rod. So every other reel I've used on that rod just doesn't work, and then I put it on another rod and it's fine. Catch fish on it. So I think that rod's cursed. I'm not going to say what it is, what brand it is, but I'll give it one more crack, and then if I land a fish on it, I know it's just that bad things comes in threes.
Now, Shane, we haven't been over there ourselves this year, but we've been hearing from plenty of others while I have a coughing fit on air. But sounds like lots of people are losing fish. Is that right, Shane? There's been a lot of bust offs. I know that's common, but is that more so this year?
It's like if you're fishing for kingfish, and especially up at Port Augusta, that's just common. It's pretty gnarly area. If you're fishing the wall, you get some big fish there, and they just duck underneath. And look, I've heard of people losing. I think the most I've heard of in one session was 15 fish.
Oh, wow.
And that's quite a lot, but that's just what happens. They're a tough and very brutal fish, very smart as well. So they're a fish that really commands a lot of respect. You don't know how powerful they are until you actually hook one, and especially these big fish. And some of the fish I've seen. I think the biggest I've seen caught, like the actual picture, $1.65 m. So that's up around 40 kilos when it's in the top condition, a fish that size. So that's magnificent size fish.
And has it been a similar season to previous years, or how does it compare?
It's been pretty good. I know last year was pretty good as well. So look, it is good. I think the kingfish fishery. This is a world-class fishery in the Upper Spencer Gulf. It's right on. You don't have to travel far. You only need a small boat. Some people catching these big fish land-based. It is a fishery that really needs to be looked after. It really should be a catch and release fishery. there is there's a concern, we're fishing for them when they are spawning, like October really is, a peak spawning period. And a lot of people are saying, should we be doing it? Should we be sort of interrupting their spawning period? But look, I think that these are just such a tough fish and resilient. They probably can withstand it, but as with everything, the fishing pressure gets more and more, and it's just something we just need to be careful of in future years. I know in some areas, especially in Victoria, you could get hundreds of boats in one area chasing them. I don't think we could ever, see that sort of pressure on the fish here. But yeah, I guess just we just got to wait and see what happens and see how it goes. But it is definitely getting more and more popular. People chasing these big fish.
Yeah, and I suppose in this day and age with social media and those sorts of things that people find out about it a bit easier, and then, like you say, because it's relatively attainable in the sense that it doesn't require enormous boats and these sorts of things to get out and get amongst it, it probably does sustain a bit of pressure. And one thing there's a lot of discussion about that online, and maybe I'll leave that alone for a sec, but you raised the point around catch and release. What do you think? I know this is probably just going to be anecdotal, but when you're speaking to people in the tackle shop, Shane, what percentage of people are going out there and just targeting them, throwing them back, do you think, say, versus somebody who will take one home?
Oh, the vast majority. So I know I spoke to one fella just last week, and he'd caught up around about 65 fish. He reckons he'd caught and tagged for the year, and he said we only kept one, and that's only because it was gut hooks. And a lot of people are like that. I had the same thing last year. I caught a few last year, and I had one that was gut hook. We tried to release it, and it just wasn't going to happen. So we kept it. And look, a lot of people are the same. If you happen to get one and it gets gut hooked and it's not gonna swim off, people do the right thing and they'll keep it and they won't waste it. And look, there is nothing wrong with that. It's just you don't want to see people going out every single trip and taking three big fish home every single trip. It's a lot of meat to sort of deal with, and you don't want to see fish wasted. Unfortunately, last year I did see one fish where someone had just taken a fillet off and left the rest of it. So that's very well frowned upon. But it's a tiny minority of people that do it. And, if those people are caught doing it and seen doing it, there's plenty of people out there that are going to jump on their backs and, tell them, this is, you can't do it. It's, unacceptable.
Yeah, very good. Well, I understand that this the whole Kingfish thing's under a bit of a review at the moment, so hopefully that heads in the right direction, both in terms of sort of catch and release and the professional side of things. And I wonder whether we could even see a slot limit or something like that at one stage where you have to release those bigger fish.
Look, it is a possibility, but the only thing with the slot limit that I can think of is if you've got a fish that's gut hooked.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's not going to survive. Well, then there's no point in letting it go.
Yeah, that's a good call.
If it can be, I hate seeing fish wasted, and a slot limit. Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great concept, but it's just that there are fish that get gut hooked and they're not going to survive, and that's just one thing that needs to be considered, I guess.
All right, now Shane, we've been talking a lot about Port Augusta itself and the Kingfish side of things. Tell us about the new store. It started up as a bit of a pop-up shop, and I understand now you're gonna keep rolling with it.
Yeah, so we last year we came up and had a go. we weren't able to keep it going in the location that we were in last year. And the spot, great spot, was just a little bit too small. And then, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, we were offered the location we're in now, much bigger location, very close to the boat ramp. Once we had a look at it, it was a no-brainer. So, so we've given it a go this year, and it's just, the response, the local response has been fantastic. There's nothing here in Port Augusta like the previous shop closed down a few years ago. All the locals, I think if we left now, and they'd be, they wouldn't let us back, or they'd hunt us down to get us back up here. So it's good to offer, a good fishing shop for Port Augusta. So next year, we'll, the location we're in at the moment, we will have to shut it down at some stage for 4 or 5 weeks, and we'll do a big renovation, and it'll be a pretty good shop. It'll be loaded with heaps of good fishing gear. It'll just be like a mini Port Lincoln shop, and if anyone that's been into our shop at Port Lincoln, it'll be sort of like that, same sort of colour scheme and everything. It'll be pretty special, I think.
Very good. Well, we loved your Port Lincoln shop when we visited it earlier in the year. So if it's anything like that, we'll be sure to get along. You must be clocking up some kilometres though, running 2 shops.
That's it's just a quick little drive up down the road, really. So it's only 3.5 hours, but it's not too bad. So I don't mind the drive, and it's just got to watch the roos between Cow and Whyalla, and that's the only dodgy spot. But other than that, it's all good.
Very good, mate. And you mentioned the local reaction about how supportive and how much they've got around the idea and keep you there. You must be thrilled with that. And does that mean that you've been inundated with resumes for people to get themselves a job in the best tackle shop, or what's the go there?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, absolutely. So we can only take the best people for the job. We've got a very good, knowledgeable fisherman that's working for us now. Very knowledgeable with Kingfish. He's a Kingfish specialist as well. We've got someone really good, and probably have another worker shortly, and they'll be running the show when I'm not up there.
Very good. Now, Shane, one last thing we wanted to ask. I've seen a video floating around on Facebook the last couple of days of a swordfish getting around Port Augusta. I know they are seen there sort of not all the time, but every now and then. Have you heard about this video?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen it myself. It's just there's just weird stuff that happens up here, and you get these weird fish that come up. And it just makes you wonder how many of these swordfish and other weird things, are just floating around out there. So, which you don't get to see. So, they obviously come all the way up here and get lost. But it just makes you wonder how many weirdo fish are out there. So,
because there's been dolphin fish and all sorts of other weird things show up at Port Augusta over the years, hasn't there?
Yeah. Look, I've seen sunfish out of Coffin Bay. Every now and then you get those big, massive leatherback turtles that float around. So who knows? And look, this year, like the water temperature is really skyrocketing real early now. So I've heard of marlin out off the continental shelf. You just don't know if these areas were a bit more accessible. I'm sure there would be some different fish that would get caught every now and then.
Yeah, it's a big ocean, and I think like we spoke with you about last time, who knows how long these barrel tuna have been getting around before anyone really caught on. So there's probably a lot more out there than we don't even know.
They're absolutely right, yeah.
Now, speaking of swords, mate, we had Steve and Ash on the show. The swords, a few been getting out off Lincoln to try and chase some. I'm sure you've had some people coming to the shop for a few questions.
Yeah. I reckon it'll be game on again. Probably any time from January, I suppose, if the right weather windows open up. And I'm very positive there's going to be there'll be a number of swordfish caught next year. Hopefully, I'm one of them. I'll definitely be going out there and giving it a crack. But that's the next big thing. I think will be the swordfish out off the shelf there, and I think there's no shortage of them out there at all.
Very good. Well, that's exciting. We've got barrels now. We're moving on to swordfish here in SA, Diz. So that's exciting, and we look forward to following along and hopefully getting out there one day and getting into one.
Yeah. It'll be if it's established as another fishery, it will be amazing, and it'll be probably the pinnacle of South Australian game fishing, I guess.
Beautiful. We look forward to following that with a keen eye, Shane. Now, thanks a lot for coming on, talking about all things Port Augusta in particular, but a little bit about Port Lincoln as well. We love what you guys are doing for the whole of the Eyre Peninsula, so thanks for coming on and having a chat, Shane.
No worries. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Shane. We'll chat to you soon, mate.
All right, Dizzy, that was great to hear from Shane about all things Port Augusta, Port Lincoln, Eyre Peninsula, the new tackle shop, Kingfish, Swordfish. We covered everything.
Always good to have a chat with Shane. All I'll say is it'd be great to be out on the boat with him the day he cracks the code on the swords, don't you reckon?
Yes, Diz. I would love to be there. I'd also love to know a pharmacist that could hook me up some sort of anti-cough medication.
Yes, that was a decent coughing fit in the middle of chatting to him. So maybe we need to chat with the editing team and see if they can't scrub that out.
Oh, I'm going to be editing it, mate. I don't know if you know my tech skills, but that ain't happening.
Fair enough. Righto, Brody, let's move into the fishing report.
Rhodey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Righto, Rhodey, I suppose you can tell us where the fish aren't at Hamilton Island.
I was about to say, did you put Hamilton Island in the fishing report as a gag? Because I did not catch a thing. Like I say, saw tuna off the breakwater. A few times they swam towards me, and actually Jack saw a couple of blokes with a fish, with a tuna.
Oh.
We were out for dinner and he took their baby out for a walk because she was not happy. And he came back in, he said, these blokes just caught like a little, maybe 4 or 5 kilo tuna. Sort of on dusk one of the nights, but we were at dinner, didn't have me rod. Anyway, a couple of times out, you see the ripples come towards you. Like, we've never done this land-based, but you see the ripples, you see the bait fish jumping. Yeah. It's coming towards you, like, here we go, and then they stop just outside your range.
Spewing.
I was flicking, like, metal slugs. You know that bungee cast lure we've got?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're supposed to be able to cast them a long way, and I could cast it a bloody long way, but never quite got within range. So that was a bit disappointing. Saw a few turtles, Diz, while I was fishing. That was nice.
Nice one.
A few stingrays. And
big turtles or?
Nah, not huge.
Yeah, okay.
They might have been a 70-centimetre shell size. Is that how you measure turtles?
Oh, I'm not really too sure. I was more sort of thinking like, your common household turtle pet is probably like a sort of dinner plate size.
Do you want to hear what else we saw? I took Lil to the wildlife park there because you buy a ticket and you can go in as many days as you want, which is quite good for kids because Lil only lasts about half an hour and then she was sick of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've got a massive saltwater croc. Ooh. In the next one, like a little freshwater croc and 3 turtles. They fed this freshwater croc a little rat and it's trying to chew this rat and it's got 2 turtles like getting in its mouth trying to pull this rat out of the crocodile's mouth.
Jeez.
They were game turtles.
Hey, that is a serious... I suppose crocs probably wouldn't be able to get through a turtle shell.
Nah, but, mate, it was gutsy turtles. And they were, like, ripping the tail off this rat while this freshwater croc's trying to knock it down.
And you were showing Lil this. That sounds like some R18 sort of stuff,
mate. Lil was loving a bit of David Attenborough turtle/freshwater crocodile chat.
I love it how you give me grief for snake chat. You've just moved on to croc/turtle eating rats chat.
Anyway, Diz, let's get back to the fishing. I was so sure it was a GT that came out of the dark shadows and had a good look at that popper.
That would have been a story for the body.
If I'd have caught a land-based GT...
That would have been huge. Oof. Huge for the boys. All right, Rody, I'm sure that all the avid fishing people out there would have seen the footage of the Sword swimming around at Port Augusta, but that was pretty elite footage.
It looks so nice in that like crystal blue water, doesn't it?
Yeah. You just see that dark blue.
And you do hear this, like I said to Shane, you do hear this semi-regularly, probably a couple of times a year. You see something weird pop up, particularly around Port Augusta.
Didn't they get a dolphin fish or something off Robe once?
Yeah.
Or like maybe like a Spanish mac or something.
Yeah,
and it was just like, that was random.
And one of those big-eyed tuna or something's turned up. I reckon that was around Port Augusta off by memory. Yeah. But it's interesting, these weird things we're getting, and whether or not this is happening more, as Shane said, to do with the water temperature and things like that, or whether it is just social media and now one person takes a picture and everyone sees it.
Everyone sees it, yeah. Could be a bit of column A, a bit of column B there, mate. All right, there's some rat kings off the Lincoln Jetty. That happens very regularly, and the crew down there have a good time getting amongst them.
They do, Diz. That one was shared by the Port Lincoln Tackle World. I think that was today or yesterday. So
testing themselves on some light gear.
So they're always good fun, Diz. And interesting, Shane said about the tuna not far away.
Yeah, no, that was good. Well, very, very pleasing news that, like you said, there's probably a 12-month tuna fishery over there now.
Yep, so they're turning up sort of further over towards the west coast, Streaky Bay sort of region at the moment. Probably not far off hitting Port Lincoln, and I reckon they will not be all that far off hitting the Victor Harbour area.
Yeah, very good. We'll keep our ears close to the ground on that one for sure.
Might have some tuna sashimi for Christmas, Diz. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that sounds good to me, mate. Rody, there was some pretty scary footage coming out of the Semaphore Jetty area, and this was of a very sizable great white shark chasing down some crab nets that were coming up.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine seeing that.
I mean, it would be pretty epic, to be fair, but like it must have been a hungry hungry shark.
Yeah,
chasing crabs.
2 blue swimmer crabs out of a net. Couple of flathead heads.
Pretty scary. I mean, there would have been plenty of people jump off those jetties along our metro coastline, and you've always got to be vigilant, and sometimes wrong place, wrong time. But that was pretty crazy footage.
It was, Diz. You know what else was crazy? A 40-centimetre Samson fish caught off the Smoky Bay Jetty.
Yeah, that must have been a lost Sambo.
Little pup.
Yeah, wow.
Mate,
40-centimetre Sambos still pull some string over.
Oh, you carried on like an absolute pork chop when you caught your Samson fish.
That thing was like well over a metre.
Oh, imagine if you caught one off a jetty. You had to deal with pylons, and you would have... we wouldn't have never heard the end of it.
No, it was a good catch though. I love it how it was posted on the SA squid fishing page too.
That's a bit rogue, really, isn't it?
It's just brilliant. Like, as someone was just flicking a few jigs out to try and get themselves a feed of calamari for dinner, and bam, they've come home. Well, obviously it was released safely, but
it would have gone pretty hard on your squid rod.
Would have gone very hard on a squid rod. All right, Rody, that wraps up the report.
You know, like normally we talk about what? Squid, whiting. Today we've talked about swordfish, GTs, all the hectic stuff.
We've gone well away from the bread and butters, haven't we?
Are there any bread and butters around? Have you been hearing anything?
Well, mate, I haven't been fishing. The best I've done is planting jasmine in my backyard. Good stuff, guys. That just about wraps up big news segment. Well done, Rody. Great to chat with Shane. Good little fishing report at the end. Good episode all round, I thought.
Thanks, guys.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.